Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game, and we're here to review the 3-1 defeat that's just finished over at the Etihad as Manchester City, potential title winners, have just, made it easy against West Ham. Gonzo, what did you make of the lineup? A curveball from Bilic going 5-4-1?
Well, the lineup was one thing, the formation is another. You're talking about the formation there. The lineup was good because it had Fletcher up the top, and when I saw it, it was, if you saw the tweet from West Ham, it looked like a 3-5-2. So it looked as if Fletcher was going to be playing up front with Valencia, which is not ideal because it's Valencia. But I thought, okay, big guy flicking it on to a little guy, so that's going to be fine. And Fletcher deserved it because he was the best player in a drab performance in the Europa Cup, wasn't he? So, sorry, Europa League, obviously. Go on.
Speaking of drab performances, I think we were on to a drab performance as soon as we kicked off in that first half. City were a different class from the word go. Let's make no mistakes about it. They've got a lot of world-class players in that team. They've got a world-class manager, and they played world-class football. They gave us a footballing lesson. It reminded me when I first started playing football when I was 4 years old, and I was playing with boys a little bit older than me, 7, 8 years old. And I would just chase about the ball a wee bit. I wouldn't get the ball. They would just pass it about. And as you're 4, you're just enthusiastic. You just run about chasing the ball, but really, you haven't got a hope of getting the ball. And that's what it reminded me of in the first half. West Ham just could not get near the ball. One stat I seen at half-time was Kouyaté had made just one pass forward in the first 45 minutes. Gonzo, their goal, what did you make of that?
Well, I just think we were sort of lacklustre the whole way through. I don't know, the marking was good. And as you say, they were so good in the build-up that it was... Do you know what? When you play a 5-4-1, you better make sure that your defence is good. You better make sure that it is absolutely sound, because that is the reason behind putting all of that out. You know, you don't set up defensively and hope that you're going to, sort of score 3 goals. You do it to keep them quiet, and it failed. I was a little bit worried, to be honest with you, because the sort of adventurous Bilic seems to have been replaced by an unadventurous Bilic. That guy of last season, we went into the Europa League game, whilst it wasn't a 5-4-1, it was still set up defensively. And yeah, I was a little bit worried. So you set up defensively and then your defence fails you, then obviously you are onto a problem, particularly where they're swarming all over you.
That first goal was one of the best goals I've seen this season. Silva was just beautiful. Cuts across the midfield, cuts across the pitch, and takes about 3 West Ham players out of the equation himself. He shrugs off Valencia. Kouyaté and Noble are just standing watching him. And I feel a bit for Antonio here. He's getting targeted. But Antonio can see Silva coming across, and no one's around him. So Antonio obviously feels, I need to go out. He does what a winger does. He goes for the ball, and he leaves that huge gap for Nolito to get in behind, cuts it back, Sterling, bang, 1-0. Beautiful football. But we're asking for it. When we play that formation, we sit back, we're asking to get taught a footballing lesson. You can do it. We can play that formation against Bournemouth. We did it at home a little bit. We sat back quite a lot against Bournemouth and said, come on then, what you got? Because they don't have enough to break you down. When you do it against City, you're just asking for trouble. You're almost like taming the beast a little bit, saying, come, what have you got? You're dangling the meat. And they came out and they did it. And 2-0, this is what annoyed me, 2-0. The free kick, Gonzo, what's your view of their free kick?
Well, in all honesty, I didn't see the free kick because my internet went down. So I didn't see their free kick. The internet goes down, hurry around, plug everything back in, bang, it's 2-0. So I didn't see it. You tell me what the free kick was like.
Silva steps over it. Everyone's expecting an in-swinger. Silva runs over the ball. De Bruyne hits it in. Fernandinho, it's a free header. It's a free header. Check Kouyaté stand on the edge of the 18-yarder watching the ball. With Fernandinho next to him.
Funny enough, I'm just seeing it now. He's curled that in from a long way from the right. That's like a David Beckham type. Yeah, okay. I mean,
check Kouyaté though, standing there next to Fernandinho watching the ball. The ball's coming. He's still standing in the same spot watching the ball. The ball's close to him. He's still standing in the same spot watching the ball. Meanwhile, Fernandinho's making his move in behind him. Free header, bang, no chance for saving that. 2-0, and to be honest with you, I thought it was a way to be a hiding. I was thinking this is a way. When we did our preview, Tom said 4-0, and I thought at that point I was thinking he could be right. Actually, we're a way to get spanked here, but we just did not look up for it. This is what annoys me, Gonzo. I don't mind getting beat by Man City at the Etihad. At least 13 other Premier League teams are going to get beat there this season, right? But I watched them against Sunderland in the opening game of the season, and Sunderland had a go at them. They were up for it, and they made it very difficult for Man City. It took an own goal for Man City to win the game. In that first half, we looked like we couldn't be arsed. It honestly looked like our players could not wait for the final whistle to go, and that's what irritated me in the first half.
Well, to be fair, I think the players have probably got their heads bowed at the moment in many respects. They've got to be lacking a bit of motivation after everything that's happened, because going out of Europe like that was not good at all. And then you get a performance like that today, and you're right, because the attitude in the second half was much improved, which obviously we'll get onto. I just wonder if the players are getting a little bit frustrated with Bilic in many respects, because I just think we're out the honeymoon period now. We had this on the forum during the week, and I just think once you're out the honeymoon period, there's that whole sort of thing whereby you have the "in Slav we trust," which was sort of very, very evident at the start. So it's going well. We were beating these teams last season. We were beating Man City. We were beating Liverpool. We were beating Arsenal. And then everyone's saying "in Slav we trust." Well, the honeymoon period's over now. And so actually, I just think you've got to question it a little bit. And I just wonder if the players are looking at Bilic and thinking, well, hold on a second. Why does he keep mucking around with stuff? It's almost like he has to learn his lesson every game. Do you know what I'm saying? So, for instance, he has to learn every time that Antonio is a right winger. So he sort of muddles, okay, no, he's not a right back. He's not a right back. I'll play him at left wing. Okay, he's doing crap on left wing. I'll stick him on the right wing against Bournemouth. Bang, rises up, gets a goal. Right, okay, play him right wing. You would think at that point, Antonio's a right winger. He muddles again. So we saw it in the Europa League. Antonio starts on the left wing. You're thinking, what is going on here? Don't even get me started on Gurkantora, by the way. And then when you look today, hold on, well, he's up right wing back. What are you doing? You know, we complain about a lack of creativity at the moment because Lanzini, great to see him back, by the way, and Payet's out and people like that. All right, he might not be the most technical player, but his endeavour and his drive and his thrust from that right-hand side does give us an attacking option. So why mess with it when there's so much missing from the rest of the team? Why mess around with that and put that Gurkantora fella in Antonio's position? I don't know. So you're right about the attitude, but also there's not just attitude, it's actually tactical acumen. And I just wonder if the other players are looking at it thinking, what's he doing? The other players must read the team sheet when he's saying, oh, right, okay, Nobes, you're playing there. Ogbonna, Ginge, Reed, you're all playing. The players must be thinking, hold on, what are we doing here? So I reckon they've probably got their heads bowed by it.
They're probably wondering why Enner Valencia, the player we're trying to shift on, is starting. They're probably thinking, right, we've brought in this boy Caleri who's sitting on the bench. Enner Valencia, we are offering to championship clubs. We're starting. The players must think, what's he doing? Do you want him or not? If you want him, get behind him. Tell him he's got a place at West Ham. Gee the player up. Stop trying to ship him out to every club willy-nilly and then expect him to turn up and put a shift in for you. The club or manager or both are basically saying to Enner Valencia, we don't want you, please leave. Oh, but you're starting at the Etihad on Sunday, so if you could put in the best performance of your lifetime, please, that would be fantastic. Why would what's Enner Valencia's motivation here? They're trying to shift him on, you know. The other thing I'll say for right wing back is I think Antonio could work right wing back. I don't want to see it, but I think it could against lesser teams than Man City, not teams we're going to be on the back foot against for 90 minutes. Also, unpopular opinion coming up, I'm probably going to get a stick for this. James Collins is not the centre back to have next to a wing back. He's too central. He will not go out to the side. He will against Domzali, Antonio worked right back because Reece Oxford was covering his arse umpteen times. Whenever Antonio went, Reece Oxford took a couple of yards to the right and played quite far right in the centre back. He knew what to do. James Collins doesn't do it. Why should James Collins do it though? Because he's been playing centre back he's now 33, 34 years old. He's been playing hardcore old school centre back all his career. You're almost asking him now to your position a little bit and learn how to cover right back more than you have been. That's why I think Antonio struggled a little bit tonight, because when he goes forward, no one covers a space. Reece Oxford took that little step to the right. He doesn't come out of position, Reece Oxford. He just covers that little patch of grass so the ball comes down. He can get out there quicker than James Collins can. But let's leave that right back, otherwise this show's going to last for ages talking about Antonio. Well, we're going to talk about Antonio again then. Half-time, sub, Byron comes on. Antonio goes forward. The useless Tory goes off. We're not going to speak about him. We slapped him off every time he's come here. What a cross. What a cross.
Yeah, the left back looks good. Bonner played it into him, and I mean, he impresses me the more I see him. It's gonna be. I don't think he's better than Cresswell. I wouldn't say that, but it's going to give Bilic a little problem. It's a shame we don't have that sort of competition on at right back. In all honesty, he dug out a lovely cross, and I mean, how Antonio manages. He keeps popping up in that area, and it was Otamendi was sort of falling over under his sort of physical presence, and he outjumped Clichy and did what he does. So with that in mind, why are we not doing it more often? Just harping back to what you say about Valencia, it's not like Valencia was. I don't even know what position Valencia was playing today. And when I said about having to learn from mistakes, it's almost like every game. It's almost like during the week, he's thinking, oh, I know, I'll play Valencia there. And then at some point during the game, he thinks, oh, actually, he's quite crap. I'll get him off. I don't know why we're repeating a mistake. But yeah, Antonio, just fantastic. You know what? He scored 9 goals last season. Wouldn't be surprised if he matches it this season.
And the players were up for it. Even before that goal went in the second half, different team, different attitude. And it goes back to what you were saying. Is the players thinking, what are these players doing on? He gets Torre off the pitch, he gets it right back on, and all of a sudden the whole team is just lifted. The whole team is completely different. We're then taking the game to Man City. We're 2-0 down. It'd be very easy to drop your heads and get a thumping and just try and do damage limitation for the rest of the game. But the whole team was different. Even Bilic was different. In the first half, whenever the camera went on him, he was deflated. He was downbeat. Second half, he was back to his animated self, pointing at people, shouting at the fourth official whenever a throw-in went against West Ham. That's the Bilic we need. But this is the West Ham we need to see from the start. It's we're almost talking as if we actually came back and won the game. But it was a total different West Ham for that second half.
Yeah, it was. And you talk about the attitude and the manager's attitude at the start. It's not just his attitude on the touchline, it's his attitude when he's selecting the team and what he imparts on the players as they're going out to play the game. So last season, the Premier League, it's a league. It's a number of either 1 point or 3 points that have a cumulative total. So it's a series of mathematics to get you up there. And if you're looking at that as such, a lot of our points last season came from beating the top teams. Man U, beat Arsenal and all the rest of it. Now, if we have any designs on finishing 7th again, then we have got to beat some of the top teams again. There's no doubt about it. So I just thought it was strange, bearing in mind we'd had such success against the big teams last year. It was really weird for his mindset to change completely and us to go in not only defensively but on a formation we've never played before. Well, that's a weird one.
What I will say though is when we beat Man City last year, we played very defensive football last season. The last 45 minutes, we were hanging on by the skin of our teeth, and I've seen the most heroic performance I've ever seen from a West Ham defence, particularly Winston Reid. He was a different animal that day. He was everywhere. So I wonder if Bilic was thinking back to that, thinking, we dug in against City, we sat back and they couldn't get near our goal in the second half. Let's do that over the 90 minutes. And maybe that's the thing. Lanzini came on. Now, all I'm going to say about Lanzini is, thank God, I still think he's our most important player. He's that link between midfield and attack. He comes deep, gets the ball, turns and goes. That's what he does, but he does it properly. In the second half, unfortunately, it was the 85th minute. But at last, someone took on Fernandinho. He was booked in the 5th minute, and it was the 85th minute until I seen someone skin him. City went after our left back. He got booked, and they kept going down his side. He kept getting away fouls, and then eventually the ref, Andre Mariner, said to Noble, one more and he's off. And funny enough, Noble got booked for speaking after being called over to talk. So he also says something. But this is why we need creative players. Someone who's going to go up against Fernandinho and say, touch me, I'm going down, you're going off. And Fernandinho just had to let him go past. Fernandinho, you see him, he stood up with his hands off and said, I cannot touch Lanzini. Lanzini drifted past him. That is what we're missing. And that's why I'm delighted to see Lanzini back. Now, Antonio, penalty. Was that a penalty, Gonzo? Corner comes in, shirt gets pulled, Antonio goes down. Is that a penalty for you?
Not last season, this season it is.
Yeah, I agree with that. Last season, no. This season, yes. Man City benefited from this rule last week against Stoke. You pull a shirt in the box now, it's a pen. The ref bottled that one. The ref also bottled this, Aguero's elbow. That is dirty.
retrospectively, that's it for him, because that was naughty, and he was lucky. It's like the commentator said, Reed didn't even make a meal of it. Really, he just was suffering from the fact.
He was winded.
Yeah, I mean, no, that was intentional. You saw it. He looked bang, and yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. They should have been down to 10 men. They're not. I thought it would have affected the result, of course, but retrospectively, I'm sure they'll look at that, because if the referee, because I think the rule is, if the referee saw it and it's in the referee's report, then there can't be any retrospective action. If the referee has seen that and it is in his report and he decided that was fair play, then the referee needs a good long look at himself, or whoever is in charge of the referees needs to have a look at the referee in there. But it was thuggish, and he doesn't need to do it. He's such a good player. He's probably the best striker in the Premier League. He don't need to behave like that.
Class A player, but that was done with force. That was done with Reed pushed him off the ball. He pushed him, Reed. He pushed him, but there was no need. He went in with force with that elbow. He went to injure. And Man City's next game, I think, is the Manchester Derby. Good one, Aguero. What a game to choose to miss. Well done for that one. He should miss that one. Then City cranked up again. They should have been out of sight already. It should have been 2-1. And the first half they should have had that wrapped up. But Silva hit the post, Sterling hit the side net, and then Nazi went through. Great save by Adrian. And gets cleared off the line by Sam Biden. That's the difference in your right back positioning. Antonio wouldn't have been on that line. But saying that, he did it against, was it West Brom? He saved about 3 off the line, West Brom, last season, Antonio. However, if Antonio was still right back, I'll put money on it. Nasri would have just rolled that one into net, because our right back wouldn't have been on the line. Then it was 3-1 Sterling. But what is our keeper doing, Gonzo? What is our keeper doing?
Well, that's just what he does. In the end, he was just left so much space for him to roll it in, didn't he? Really, I mean,
yeah, but why is he flying out like that? He's flying off his line.
Well, that's what he does. But once you have, then at least cover your angles. He didn't, I mean, it just wasn't covering his angles there at all. So that's one of the first things that they will learn, that goalkeepers are supposed to learn. But you know what? I don't want to criticise the goalkeeper too much. What I would say is, what Bilic does need to do is, bearing in mind we've got another goalkeeper of comparable standards, is, I think, particularly now we're out of the Europa League, he needs to perhaps drop that little thing that he's got going on, whereby Adrian plays in the league and Randolph plays everywhere else. I think he could do a lot worse than say to Randolph, listen, if it's, regardless if it's Man City or anybody else, if we have conceded 3 goals, and I don't want to have a go at the goalkeeper too much, as I say, because I think there are other mitigating circumstances, far more, we've discussed them all. But I do think, as a manager, you say, look, you've conceded 3 goals, you have a rest. Randolph's in there for the next one, and give him a crack, really. But there's a lot of work needs to be done, and Bilic needs to learn from his mistakes. No more Valencia. He can never start for us again. Tora, I mean, we said, as I've said, as it goes through the season, it will lack any sort of foresight, what I said. But I said straight away, there's no way that guy's loan deal will be made permanent. Well, I'll tell you what, in 10 games' time, everyone will be saying, oh, yeah, well, of course it won't be made permanent. He's crap. But that's the case. No more Tora, no more Valencia, no more Antonio out of position. Let's just get back to the team that was last season with whatever striker. If Zaza turns out to be good, then he's at the tip of the team. If not, then Sacco comes back or Andy Carroll comes back. Let's just get some balance in the team with creative. But you mentioned Lanzini, it's delightful he's back. No one else really had any technique in the team today. Nobody. I can't really think of anyone that had decent technique. Maybe the left back on occasion. I still can't pronounce his name properly. Apart from that, we need players with technique. And you know what? Lanzini's got some. Let's have Lanzini back. Let's have Payet back. It's going to be squeaky bum time with Payet, particularly on our transfer show on Wednesday. Until that door closes shut, we're still going to be worried. But no more mistakes. No more learning late mistakes and being reactive. Bilic needs to be proactive.
Well, Man City fully deserved that win. If there was ever a time to throw down your title ambition, they certainly did that today. They were something delightful in the first half. However, we've seen a different West Ham in the second half. We've seen last season's West Ham in the second half. The second half result, if you like, was 1-1. I'm not too downbeat, actually. For me, our season starts on the 10th of September against Watford. That's when our season starts, and there's no excuses from that point on. The window's shut. Any speculation about who's going and who's coming is gone. It's finished. If Valencia is still there, I'm afraid we're stuck with him until January. Let's get behind him. Let's try and do something with him, but hopefully he won't be on the pitch very much. Torre, I'm not writing him off yet. He's not impressed me, but I'm still sitting on the fence. I still think 3-4 games is too quick to judge him a little bit. I'm sceptical, but I'm not judging him yet. Any players you wish to comment on before we round this off, Gonzo, good or bad? Anyone that stood out for you for either reason?
Yeah, I just think if that was Noble's audition for England, then he probably fluffed his lines today, in all honesty. There was a lovely ball in the first half where he released running through. Was it Antonio? Released Antonio running through. That was a lovely... It was a raking sort of curling ball, showed vision. He demanded the ball. There was two of them running for the ball, and Noble very much said, "That's mine," and he played it in there. But there were too many woeful passes in there. Akiate was not his normal self either. But all Noble can really hope for is that because he spent all that time under Allardyce, that Allardyce knows him better than that performance today.
Kiate was the one that was poor for me. Noble was poor, but the way I'll defend him is he had no options going forward. He had Valencia, Torre, and Fletcher miles up on his own. Fletcher impressed me. Although he didn't do much, he was up against two very experienced centre-backs. He looked strong. He held the ball up quite well. He got himself about. He's interested. That's it from us. Man City, a well-deserved win. Make sure you subscribe to our channel here. We've got quite a lot of content coming up despite the international break. As Gonzo said, we'll be back on Wednesday night with a transfer show. Keep your eyes on our social media and forum at hammerschat.com for all the details. It's a very relaxed show, on alternatives to Sky Sports News almost. And also we'll be doing a Talk West Ham where you can get the chance to ring in. So get in touch with us on facebook.com/HammersChat. On Twitter, it's @Hammers_chat, or on Instagram, it's just HammersChat. But make sure you subscribe to our channel. We've got 2 giveaways coming up. The first one is 2 Farewell Upton Park books by Daily Mail's editor Lee Clayton. Fantastic. You do not want to miss that prize. We'll show you the book as well. So it's a nice little video we've got lined up for you. And we've got another one as well, which is secret at the minute, which is West Ham related. Thank you very much for watching. Gonzo, Geo, Hammers Chat. It wasn't to be for West Ham, but our season starts on the 10th of September.